Welcome back to Weebology. Thanks y'all for coming back to class, and happy Thanksgiving. Hope y'all had a great one.
Yeah, I'm sure it was great.
I am your professor, Ricky.
And I'm your co-host, Ethan.
Oh, okay. So did you just, then sometime on Thanksgiving, did you eat your Weebology degree?
Yeah, so I'm also a weebologist. Let's absolutely not forget that fact.
We can't, and especially we can't today, because as you all know, as we know for each other, we are professors. You know, educators and educatees alike. And today we're putting our degrees where our money is and our mouths are, just like Ethan did eating his degree at Thanksgiving.
Yum.
Because we have a fresh guest on the podcast today.
Very special guest. We've known him for a very long time.
Very long time.
Literally since 6th grade.
And the man is not only fresh to the cast, but fresh to anime as a concept. Please give it up. Applaud sound number 3 that I'm going to add into the podcast. Daniel!
Long time friend, first time caller, right?
That's right. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Hey,
Thanks.
no problem, man.
Dude, how are you doing today?
I'm great now that we got set up.
Okay.
All right, guys. Full
had
disclosure, it
we
was
had
a
a
calamity
time.
of errors. As you can tell if you're watching our video, we've set up these light panels. They are very, very bright right now, and we can't get them connected with the freaking Wi-Fi, but just chill.
It's clear that this company went hard in on the hardware, because it looks good. It feels good, and the lights are super cool. The software sucks.
It doesn't suck. I think it's like us who sucks.
We are the suck.
We suck.
It sets a good mood. I mean, right now you look like you're at like a gender neutral reveal right now.
Get ready.
Puke yellow.
It's
Yeah.
Well, you
Is
know.
it even a human baby?
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're giving birth to a snake. So what we wanted to have start doing on the show is having folks on that are at various levels of
Anime fandom.
Anime knowledge. And all right, Daniel, where would you put yourself on the ranking?
I am definitely what you would probably call like a wannaweeb.
A wannaweeb.
Yeah.
Now,
That's great to hear.
That's a fantastic to hear. So someone who has the desire to be educated, but at this point are very early in your journey.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe not.
I grew up around it. I definitely was into it as a kid, and then I went on a hiatus, and I probably haven't come back yet.
Watch
But,
sports ball like a fool.
Oh my gosh. He doesn't even know about sports anime yet.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
See?
That's a thing, dude.
Sports anime? No, I did not know that was a thing.
Yes.
I'm still OG anime. You know, like
What do you consider OG? What's your big one?
Yeah, wait, what's your base?
Yeah.
What have you seen so far?
What have you ever
well,
seen?
I've seen a ton of anime. I'm thinking like back to my childhood. The baseline I'm gonna say is Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, I
It's
love it.
clear.
sure.
So the Yu-Gi-Oh! It seems to be everyone's first. It's either that or Pokemon. Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for a second there, I had to think if that was considered anime because I always just think back to Dragon Ball Z, and I was like, is it actually considered anime? The thing about Pokemon, I fucking loved Pokemon. And everybody had the cards, but nobody knew how to play the game.
Dude, I still don't.
It was a total rip-off Magic, the Gathering, the card
Do you think
game.
so? I mean,
100%.
Well, they had-
100%.
They had like
Pretty old.
It is
man.
old. They had,
It's pretty old.
No, it was the exact same concept. You have energy cards, all that bullshit. Nobody knew how to play. They collected them. It was a lot of fun. Nobody knew how to play.
Okay.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Came around. Everybody fucking knew how to play that shit.
I fucked with some Yu-Gi-Oh! Hard.
I did love me some Yu-Gi-Oh!
I mean, it was the only card game I think I played.
Do you guys want some insight into the life of Ethan?
Okay, yeah, for
So,
sure. Hit me.
you know how my dad's a big nerd, right?
The biggest.
He would kick my ass in Yu-Gi-Oh cards constantly. You know what else he beat me in? Fucking Beyblades.
Wait, whoa.
He bought a Beyblade
Jeez.
and
Hold on.
beat my ass.
Hold on.
How do you gain skill?
You can't. That's just
Oh,
luck.
it's physics.
So let me tell you this.
You let it rip.
I mean, you
You
can
buy-
weight
no,
it a
listen,
certain
listen,
way.
folks. You buy your son a shitty Beyblade and you buy yourself a metal
so
one.
he sabotaged you.
Exactly.
He taught you
It helps to pay the bills.
It does.
harshness of
Dad,
the world.
I love you, man. You're the best. I love that you're a nerd, but yeah, fucked me on Beyblades.
Hashtag dad did him dirty. Like he really did. That's not cool. He gave you the off-brand.
It wasn't off-brand. You know how there's like in the show, there's the one that's like the dragon or whatever. It's like the main character's like
Dragoon.
Yeah, Steel Dragon, Devilmon, Blade guy.
You can throw a mon in there.
I don't know. I don't know what the deal was. There must have been some kind of price difference because it was like clearly a superior Beyblade. So like mine was like too tall, and his had just like center of gravity on its side. It was just like a monster.
So he was doing the whole nut kicking routine. He was going under you, and you're too high.
Exactly.
He just swept the legs.
I was literally bouncing off like a fool.
Wow.
That's some bullshit.
I know.
Wow. I went through the Beyblade
blades.
Phase.
I urge you to reconsider this line of questioning.
I went through that. It was very short, but the Yu-Gi-Oh lasted a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the Pokemon. Oh man, I'm so pissed at myself now. We had a yard sale. I want to say it must have been like 7 years ago now. Had all our freaking Pokemon cards in a big old box. We were just trying to get rid of stuff. Didn't think about the future. I mean, some little kid came around. He must have been like 7 years old. Was like, how much for this card? And I'm like, honestly, kid, I'll give you this whole box for $10.
Daniel, this hurts my.
Listen, man.
Hey, guys. As a collector of things like this, you guys need to realize something. All you at home who have these Pokemon cards and think you've got like a secret $1 million in your freaking attic, it's very, very rare that you would have a shadowless 1998 first edition.
Hey, fuck off, man. I went to the damn Pokemon movie where they gave out the Mewtwo ancient cards. I still got that shit. I'm waiting to cash in.
Yeah, I've got it too. Guess how much it's worth?
It's a couple bucks.
Tell me 100 at least.
No.
It's like $3. Hey, but I own 2 of them, so $6.
Now
that's a Subway Sammy and change, dude.
If you get it PSA graded.
Yeah. So if you get
potentially, it could be worth $200.
And
what the fuck is that?
But it has to be perfect.
So PSA grading it grades the quality of the cards that you own.
Oh, I got mine in one of those little plastic casings.
So
it doesn't mean anything.
Even at its best, it can still be a 9 it comes down to
a climate-controlled environment.
It doesn't matter.
There's
a lot of different things that you have to care about. So like, they call it like spacing or squaring of the back. So, like, for instance, on the back, there's the same Pokemon looking symbol, right? The ball, and then Pokemon upside down. Well, if that isn't squared perfectly within the back, you'll get points off. If you have, so the way that it cuts each of these cards, basically, I don't know if like a big ass arm went down and cut a big line or just like a little scalpel, but if that left any like fraying or whiting, they call it.
Right.
That takes points off.
Right. So that you can have a perfectly conditioned card and have a 9
surface and get an 8 and you're effed.
So you're
Here's my thing though. You still got to find a buyer. Like who's buying that stuff?
Now,
it's
Daniel,
for a stupid price.
It's collectible.
Now, Daniel, Ethan's got some cards over here that is worth some Mongo cash. Like it is worth some serious money. Do you have the Yellow Pikachu or what's the unique one? There's like different colored cheek.
It's sitting right down now.
Yeah, it's not.
It's either red or yellow. I can't remember.
But anyway,
I can't believe that because I shed blood for my Pokemon cards.
I was gonna ask if you still had the Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Huh?
Do you still have the Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Now those
I would
bad
have to
boys
dig for them.
Could be
I would have
worth
to dig
something.
for them. Real quick, no joke. I shed blood for these cards. Okay, there was this crazy steep hill down to my buddy's house when I was a little kid.
Okay.
Down a little cul-de-sac. I mean, it was a steep ass hill. When you're a kid, the biggest decision you ever had in your life was what mode of transportation are you going to take to go to your buddy's house? Skateboard, bike, rollerblades,
ripstick.
Yeah. So
scooter.
Scooter. I don't think those are around yet.
Not yet.
Razor blade or razor scooter. Yeah. All
God,
that shit.
I remember that Christmas.
Yeah. So
Tier.
Me and my brother, we had like a little soccer game the morning before. So I'm in my cool Taylor Swift short shorts. I didn't even think of the change. We're gonna go trade Pokemon cards with my buddy. So I'm gotta trek the hill. Well, I never go down this hill without jumping in the neighbors' yards with my rollerblades to slow myself down.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Disagree.
It's like the opening of Power Rangers when they're all skating like loons.
Yeah. So today, of all days, I decide I gotta freaking 10, 20-pound box of Pokemon cards in my hand. This is the day I'm going to decide I'm going to fucking go all the way down the hill and not slow myself down at all. Ate shit hard.
I bet you still have Pokemon cards in you right now.
Probably. I mean, my whole leg was freaking bleeding up the side.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. But the Yu-Gi-Oh, I mean, I would really have to dig for them, and I really wanted to too, because like I was hearing when we first started, everybody got like the starter pack that had like the blue eyes.
Oh,
dragon.
yeah, like the
now
starter
apparently that's
decks,
worth a good bit of money.
If it is first edition,
if it came from a booster, there was more cash.
Well, yes, but if it's a first edition,
I imagine I would've had
Seto
that.
Kaiba starter deck, you have a chance of it being worth something.
Right.
Man.
Now, did you ever watch the Yu-Gi-Oh anime?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, did you watch that one?
Yeah, let's get into anime, folks.
Yeah.
Is this a trading card podcast?
It could be.
Which we should maybe
It
do.
could totally be.
Look out for that. But seriously, so you did watch some of. So I guess it sounds like if you own some of the merch, you as a kid felt like, there's a show.
You said you watched Dragon Ball Z, and you said, I assume Pokemon, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Digimon. Yeah.
Digimon.
All right.
Duel Monsters.
Yeah.
I was into Digimon.
What else? I mean, those are the main ones as a kid, I want to think. I don't know, throw more. Am I missing any?
Did you watch the Beyblade one?
I don't know. There was a show about that one?
Oh yeah,
There sure was.
there was. Well, what did you like better as a show, Pokemon or Digimon?
Probably Pokemon.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are
Digimon, I mean, it had its specific characters I really liked, but as far as the general premise, definitely Pokemon.
Pokemon's kind of OG though. Like
yeah.
it was the OG Pokemon collecting thing.
yeah.
Digimon's
You know
not
how
really-
they say Helen of Troy was the face that launched 1,000 ships?
Pikachu is the Pokemon that launched 1,000 franchises.
Pokemon. Pokemon was the face that launched 1 million games
It really did.
and
So
billions and billions of
Oh, yeah.
dollars.
I freaking had those games. Stadium.
Hell yeah.
Stadium, that
Yes.
shit was
N64
freaking awesome.
Stadium.
So what came first for you? Was it the games, the cards, or the show? What started that Pokemon?
Yeah, how did it start?
Where did the show
Was it
fit
'cause
in
of
your
Steve?
timeline? Yeah.
Your bro? Was it the bro?
Oh, you dropped it first. See, I didn't bring it up.
You
brought
didn't
it
talk
up.
about
Yeah.
him bringing it up first.
No.
You dropped it, Ethan.
I said I was going to.
I wanted to think that it was all me. No, it was. I don't know. When I was a kid, I wanted to be like my brother. So anything my brother did, I wanted to do. So I would imagine it
If you're listening to this,
probably
Steve,
came from my brother. Oh, he'll listen now that I've been.
he
on.
loves you, man.
Yeah.
So-
OG.
OG.
No, I probably was following in his footsteps. Pokemon, I don't know. I guess timeline. What came first, Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z? It would have been one of the two.
Dragon Ball
Z by a significant portion.
Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, then it would have been that,
Yeah.
and then we moved in. I mean, you're on the school bus, everyone's trading Pokemon cards, so we're definitely into that. But
Right.
I remember watching Dragon Ball Z first before getting into any kind of games.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Okay, so Dragon Ball Z was the true OG. I like
yeah, yeah.
that. So where did you deviate? Where did your
Or,
brother
wait,
keep?
how did you watch it back then? Was it all
Oh,
just
that's
on
a good point. Yeah.
Adult Swim or whatever?
Yeah,
Toonami?
well, no, it's Toonami. Wasn't it Toonami?
back
Yeah,
with
that was
Tom.
the thing. I remember.
Tom
Toonami.
the little fucking robot.
Wait,
guy.
what the fuck happened that because he was white and then he disappeared for a while. We thought he went into this third dimension, then he came out black. What was that whole thing?
Who knows?
Wait, whoa.
I have no recollection of this.
No.
He-
Somebody look this shit up. I'm serious. He was on a fucking ship. He was this short little
Hold on.
dude. He was white. And then he went into this fucking black hole.
So
and
I-
everybody was wondering, what the heck happened to Toonami, dude? And he came out black.
So for everyone watching on YouTube, if I can find this picture, I will put.
This is a real thing. I ain't
Whoa.
fucking with you.
Yo, wait a minute.
I thought he was gunmetal gray.
Yo, here's his timeline. Look at this. Ricky, put it up on screen. So he starts out at that. He starts
Whoa.
out super tiny.
That's the one I remember.
Which
The
one do you
Yeah.
remember? Do you remember
Both. I know the whole damn
You know the
plot.
whole lineage? Yeah.
Like,
whoa.
Want to weeb my ass? I fucking know more than you.
So-
This is my damn podcast.
I think we're just gonna go. Did we just steal it
I'm
all?
actually
Okay.
good now.
So essentially, he goes from tiny chibi to what looks like a super early prototype of Master Chief, and then full Power Ranger, full-fledged Power Ranger.
Yeah.
And then what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
He went through some phases. I mean, puberty,
now,
rebellious phase.
I'm into this last one. I can
Get
get
Iron Man look-alike.
Yes, he's got a little bit Tony Stark on us. So
that nightmare though in the middle.
This guy.
Ricky, please zoom in on this via.
Oh,
editing.
I've been zooming.
Via editing.
Oh, that'll haunt your dreams. So I feel like Toonami was really
foundation of like every kid's
a
childhood.
lot of kids went to
It
Toonami
opened
first.
doors.
It did.
Yeah, it opened doors.
They had a bunch of good stuff early in the day, like Cyborg 009 is the first time I saw it on Toonami. Super cool. They still to this day do anime, like some really heavy shit, and it goes right into Adult Swim.
Yeah.
And Adult Swim goes like full Parasite, like some real mature. That's where I watched Dimension W. I don't know. It's Toonami's kind of been that consistent anime.
It had a
outlet.
bunch on there. I tell you one, and I didn't even think about this one till just now. Samurai Jack.
Yeah,
That shit
That's
was
interesting.
dope.
Yeah, and we got to.
Did it ever like conclude?
It did.
It did.
Did he
came
ever
back.
take out that big ass? I can't even remember
What's his
people's
name?
names.
Aku?
Kimbali.
Aku.
Oh
Aku.
man,
Aku.
fucking
Because so basically, pizza time.
stand by.
Intermission. And we're back. We had a little bit of a pizza intermission because a couple of us were hungry boys.
Yes, literally a couple of us were very hungry boys.
I had some of that cheesy bread, but you guys literally record timed that pizza. That was actually incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys watching at home will see how fast we ate the pizza.
I'm pretty sure Daniel didn't chew. He just kind of like
He opened the gullet,
Yep.
made it into like a submarine. And
It was incredible.
Kind of like a talent, yeah.
Like a python, but more like an animal than a talent. but-
Absolutely like an anaconda.
So what we were talking about before is Samurai Jack, because it was on Toonami, and I was about to reveal to Daniel that the creator, in fact, did recently make a 5th season, much more mature, fantastic way to end the series. And I remember like deciding to sit down and binge it all the way through, and it was darker, more mature, and substantially almost better written than the first 4 seasons.
It was always pretty dark. Like it felt very. I don't know. You almost got like in a mood.
I was a
Yeah.
little
You'd
scared.
watch
not
it.
gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was pretty scared when I was watching
You
it.
felt like you were doing something wrong by watching it. I mean, it wasn't like inappropriate. It just like the cult, the atmosphere that it was created was
He was brilliant, and like the thing too is that he knew that the people who wanted it had grown up. The people that primarily are going to watch this 5th and final season, truly final, because he did a little bit of a recap, but to those who had never seen the show, they would have never understood this 5th season. But to those that have and watched it as younger
This is
folks,
the 5th season after he's killed a coup, or
it's him.
hasn't yet.
It's him wrestling with the fact that he's still in the future. He can't die until his mission is complete. He's very much still alive, and he start to go like mental illness, like contemplating like suicide and stuff. It's very, very dark. And
Jeez.
yes, it's not veiled at all. But so I wanted to come back to the anime.
Thank you, Toonami, for
for
raising a
giving-
generation of children with
Yes.
at least a base knowledge of anime. I'm really, really proud of you.
So you did diverge, Daniel. At some
I
point
did.
you did. And
What caused it?
what caused this divergence?
To get away from anime?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know if there's any one reason. Okay, well, we're gonna get into this, huh? Well, all right.
That's
So,
kind of the point.
I don't know. This wasn't the reason for the divergence. I think it was just like a slow process. I just started watching other things, and it
usually
wasn't
is.
like a sour notion or anything. But this was my main argument, and I'm very curious to hear y'all's counter argument. And it's not. I'm probably gonna get kicked off of this podcast after this.
Honestly,
But-
just
No.
leave now.
You're
Save us the
preemptively
trouble.
go.
Get the
No.
out.
So this is, I won't say so much as mine as just, I feel like the general public's perspective of anime, the number one criticism of anime.
Uh-huh.
And I'm curious your counter argument.
Can't wait to hear it. Why are you scared? Spit it out.
No.
I'm gearing up, dude. I'm in it.
It is a cheap form of film in that it constantly no. Hear me out. If you watch the film, you'll notice that they stay on scenes for a very long period of time where it's just a constant back and forth, like a shot on their eyes and they're cringing, and just like two pans of two different pictures. You see what I'm saying?
Kind of.
So you can make a much longer film because you're not having to draw as many scenes, because there's snippets where it's basically just the same photo over and over and over again, but and you're not having to create or it's just a monologue scene where the only thing that has to change is the mouth, so that you're just having a one picture and the only thing that's changed is the mouth, so you can create a lot more scenes very quickly because you're not having to redraw very much. So that's the biggest criticism that I've seen, and I'm curious to y'all's opinion. This is just mere a observation that I've seen is people say it's just a very cheap form of film.
Daniel, you may have found a kindred spirit in all this, in me over here.
Oh.
Because I understand the criticism, but you have to understand where it's coming from. Hear me out. The original place where this art form had been created is in manga, Japanese cartoons, comic books. What you're looking at isn't necessarily full motion, scenes that require full motion. Instead, it is a art form that is meant to be fast-paced in production, because we have things like Shonen Jump. Publications that put out literally episodes worth of comics every single week, and the anime has to go in stride. Making an episode a week, you know who else did that? South Park. And you know what it looked like? Paper cutouts. The exact same concept.
It's a fair argument.
Right. So the other thing is, when you talk about kind of the old animation style, like, you got to realize, like, they literally had to draw these scenes, right? So, like you mentioned, the way they did it was like cell animation. So they'd have whatever the outside picture is, and they'd have a tiny square where they'd either put like something that's meant to be removed, right? So like you'll see in a lot of those old shows, you'll notice there'll be like a rock that's a different color than the rest of the scene, right? And then that's the rock that explodes when Frieza shoots his big pistol.
That's the thing that's going to react or move.
So that's literally because they have the scene and they cut out this little square and they put that rock there, and then the next scene they take the rock away. So they it's literally how they did animation back in the day.
It's the technique.
And what it was is it was kind of a leftover. It was almost, as Ethan said, a necessity of the production process left over in becoming part of the style. So as things looked the way they did, that almost became an iconic part of the look of anime. And then,
first of all, you can actually go watch the original Gundam Wing, or whatever it was called, Mobile Suit Gundam, and you can see in certain scenes there's literally like dust under pieces where they are going to remove it. So they have like these little cell areas where something's going to happen. There's like dust under it that you can literally see. And then when they remove it, there's no dust. So it's like, when you say cheap, I think we got to like realize animation is insanely expensive, especially back then.
Right.
And like you're saying, how much they have to do it.
It's literally
something. They have like full teams of people.
Oh, no.
Like all day long.
I totally respect that aspect of it, because it's kind of like claymation. You have to move the clay every single scene, and it's frame, like it'll take you 5 hours to shoot 30 seconds. So back in the day where you had to draw every single scene, that's an incredible feat, and you got to do everything you can to make the most out of your time. I get that. So how does it what is it? What's different nowadays with technology? How do they still do it the same way?
So they've kind of moved to a more cinematic approach.
So
because technology has aided in like they don't have to use cell shading or anything like that anymore. It's not shell shading, animation,
right?
Because they have like 3D modeling and shit like that.
So the way it's kind of changed now is frame by frame drawing still exists, but the technologies they use to draw it have gotten better. So the lines got more crisp. It's all computer drawn on like Adobe and stuff like that. So that has a name. It's called Sakuga. Sakuga is the act of actually drawing frame by frame, meticulous, and that actually why you have found a kindred spirit here in what, like, I don't want my anime to look so static that I'm just looking at a moving comic book. I want to see if someone's flying in for a punch, I want to see every little millimeter of their flying in. And the thing is now, because the technology's today, it can look so crazy mind-blowingly good, you'd think you're watching art. Imagine if you watched the last fight in Demon Slayer Season 1. His entire perspective of animation would change. Because that is just pure Sakuga.
I was thinking in Season 3 of Attack on Titan, Levi like going through the whole city, fighting off the Ackerman squad or whatever it was.
And that's because of a new technique where, so CGI. You've seen movies with CGI, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The newest Star Wars. Had to put Leia back in that shit.
They put Leia back in that shit, yeah. So, while CGI in the land of live-action movies is something to be critically acclaimed to the point where they get best special effects, best actual awards for their CGI, anime and CGI aren't the best of friends. They are not. And it's got a little better now. Talk about how Demon Slayer used CGI. You know, were any of the characters CGI?
So what a lot of shows have kind of gone to, if they're not going full-blown CGI, is they'll do like transition screens that are CGI or something like that.
It's like backgrounds for dynamic. When they do the Levi stuff,
exactly.
All the city is CGI, but all the people are hand-drawn.
So kind of like meld the best of both worlds. CGI is great because they can do a lot very quickly. So they can do like a pretty insane like background sort of.
It's camera shots for
very
sure.
quickly, and like they can cinematically go through it with like the program, but also like still having your 2D drawn version of him. That's kind of like going through the CGI land or scene. Is kind of like a nice marriage of the two.
Yeah, and I would say, I know we're talking up how anime has changed over the decades to kind of alleviate that. You aren't gonna 100% get away from the bop, 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 like mouth open, close, open, close.
No,
and that's
I
all
get
you
that.
get in the scene.
Well, like it's not as bad as it used to be, where you just have to watch a monologue for a long time, or the power up.
That it's just like
because.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, with Dragon Ball Z, I'm pretty sure there's a whole season of him just holding the spirit bomb. It's like, good God, when are you going to fucking throw this thing?
Oh, you're not wrong.
Well, like Ricky had mentioned earlier, they're doing it based off of whatever the Shonen Jump schedule is, or whatever their manga schedule is. So if they're catching up to the actual source material, they might throw in some filler episodes, which is a big...
Oh, don't fucking talk about filler.
A lot of people dislike filler episodes.
Of just like Goku eating.
Well, it's like just bullshit, right? Like some side mission or something like that. But the reason is because if they catch up with the source material, you could potentially get a Game of Thrones Season 8 type situation where they don't know where it's going to go, so they just make up their own answer, and then it doesn't actually stay in line with the manga. So like
there have been some in the past that done this. Yeah.
Comic book, and then say Superman.
I want to get on the fucking
like
comic books. You know my fucking sour with the comic books.
I know.
I'm just saying. So the reason that all kind of happened was because they had to kind of stay a little bit behind the source material, and like filler episodes in the middle of an arc are definitely frowned upon.
Oh, dude, there are entire shows. So put it this way. Imagine if you had a Batman, the Batman trilogy, right? like
Right.
one. You've seen all three of the Batman
Christian
movies?
Bale.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. So imagine,
Proud.
those being based directly on a comic book. You get one. One's pretty good. You get two. Two is amazing. But halfway through two, they didn't finish the story. So second half of two is just like it suddenly gets really shitty. And you're like, whoa, you had such a good story going. What happened? That's what would have happened if, some of these comics, these mangas were to run out. These authors were to not write where the anime is, and the anime just keeps going. And then it's up to the writers of the anime who have not needed to write much.
So you actually see this kind of, I think, Soul Eater, right?
That's exactly where you see it. Yeah. I don't know if they did a divergence or it didn't finish.
So it didn't finish. So
Okay.
Just explain the situation really fast.
So what happened is this author who actually has a show out right now that is pretty good. It's it's not as good as Soul Eater. It's a show about basically Grim Reapers in training, and they are charged with going out and killing a certain number of these demonoid creatures to make their scythes worth being full-fledged like death weapons. Like you are now an actual Grim Reaper in full. It was very good for the first 85 to 90%, and then all of a sudden they hit right where the author had not written.
I think he got ill or something.
He got ill or he got sick or something, and then they decided we got to finish this bitch, and oh my god, it was so whack. Like
it was really bad.
They ended the whole thing ended like a dumpster fire. She ended it by screaming the word bravery into the final boss, and it went.
It's like some fucking William Wallace shit.
Yeah, it was
Braveheart.
Freedom. Yes, it was so bad, and I don't know how else to. That's it, and then everyone was like jaws to the floor.
Like,
what?
What happened?
What? This is horseshit. So, and you don't ever want a work of art or a work that you've been meticulously working on to be remembered as what it could have been. You never want that. So
that's kind of like a mid-tier show example, but there's this thing in Japan called the Big Three. This is kind of something that you would have maybe come into contact with on Toonami. So the Big Three were the highest selling shows, manga, whatever. Mostly manga, and that what they do is it's like a comic book that comes out every week is the Shonen Jump, and they like have ratings in the back where you can rate which show manga you liked, which stories you liked, and then that will move forward or backward in the comic book that comes out.
And it's kind of how they know, like, oh my god, this one is rising through the ranks. It's gonna get more of our funding.
Right.
It's the highest bought publication of manga in the world. Like,
so the Big Three were Naruto, One Piece, which is still going, and Bleach.
That's still going?
Yeah.
Dude.
And Bleach?
No, Bleach ended. Bleach ended. So
that's where
Bleach
I'm going
ended.
with.
But here's the thing. No, One Piece is so popular that there's so many episodes. I did the math. I haven't seen it yet. And probably never will, because if I watched an episode a day religiously and it continues to go until I catch up, it would be 4 years straight of 20 minutes a day just to catch up, and at the rate of it gaining new episodes if it never stopped.
That's
Which one is
nothing, dude.
This is One Piece.
God, dog. That's
Yeah.
the one
Guys,
where he
I
ate the
kinda-
gum fruit
Yeah.
and he
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
shot
that's
all
it.
day long.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
he's a rubber man now.
I got
Yeah.
from 0 to 600 in like a couple weeks. There's no problem.
You cordially suck my dick. There's no
got-
way.
I'm telling
There's
you.
no way.
I did watch that one. I did really like that one.
I did watch the first.
I mean,
Like,
that's
I
a
watched
cool
the first 100.
concept.
Like, I get a little bit of it.
So you're there, dude.
No, I'm not there. There's no way. Like, I looked at the road ahead of me, and I'm like, but there's so many good anime season over.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
season over
It's
here.
tough.
I'm just gonna go. It's cool. I'll be back. I
It's
swear.
not you. It's me.
It's not you. It's me. It's just this is a lot of a commitment, real quick, and I just gotta go.
Anyway, so where I was going with all that is these are the 3 highest selling for like a really long time, right?
Oh God.
And even one of those is subjected to this kind of issue where
Oh, Bleach. God.
so the guy who wrote Bleach, Tite Kubo, He went on a big hiatus for a long time, and then he finally came back to finish his story, and he had this grand plan for how he wanted to finish it, but his editor and like all the like financial powers that be said, no, you have to finish it by, I think it was like episode 420 or something, or volume something ridiculous.
Right.
And so he had to finish his story in like 10 chapters or something. Like they gave him like literally, you have 10 chapters, finish your story, and he was like, shit, I have so much to do. So it's like a really bad ending.
Oh,
but
God.
it's to this like 15 year long, you know, basically magnum opus of anime, and they still made him finish it really fast. So this can happen with like
it
pressures.
Doesn't matter who you are.
Like, well, what I mean is like animation and all these shows are not made in a vacuum. Like they're subjected to financial powers that be and stuff like that, which is, you know, not exactly like all the time really great for the viewer, but sometimes it just is what it is.
And that it all ties back to what you were saying. There are going to be some corners cut.
Right.
And a lot of places there are shows that exist where these long-winded monologues are beautifully meticulously drawn, but it's all about where the money is thrown, you know?
No, I get that. One thing I really appreciated you saying, though, that I never really thought about is everybody just kind of wants to see the latest and greatest, coolest, you know, technology and seamless cuts and everything. But when you mentioned that it's like you're watching a comic book, and if you've ever read a comic book, you kind of see like the little snippet scenes. It makes more sense if you're watching an anime thinking of it like you're watching a comic book.
It's important to know that's where it comes from.
If you think of it like that, then it's probably not as noticeable, not a big a deal. So I can totally understand that. That definitely helps kind of put it in perspective.
And I feel like the anime that you would like is very akin to what me and Ethan are kind of into, and you'll find that in the places where they know motion is important, oh boy howdy, there's motion. Like there is beautiful.
Oh
fluid
yeah,
anime.
There's some freaking badass
Oh,
scenes.
yes.
Hell,
boy howdy now.
you mentioned
Yeah.
Gundams. I fucking love that. If that's
Ooh.
not the freaking American dream, where it's like, hey, I'm fucking pissed at you, I know how to kick your ass, and also I'm gonna have this freaking 100-foot tall thing also kick your 100-foot tall machine's ass in the same way I am, just because we have got money to burn. That's fucking great. That's America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drawn by Japanese people.
They knew it, dude. They
Dude,
know
I
it. They
fucking
knew it
love
would
that.
sell. So yeah, I mean, if any criticism you have, I mean,
That's awesome.
it's not like it's not unwarranted. It's probably there for a reason. It's just it's actually honestly what Ethan said is probably the most true. This stuff doesn't exist in a vacuum. A lot of times, the movies we watch, like Avengers, the ones too big to fail, they don't need to. Even if they don't exist in a vacuum, the companies around them are all very unified in.
Plus, realize when you're watching an Avengers, even like 4 movies long, that's not 1,000 episodes.
Right. And
You
they
know,
also
it's
threw
like-
$1 billion at each. Like,
Well, that, and it's like, it's just economies of scale, right? You're talking, you know, for instance, we talked about this early on in one of our episodes. Oh, you have to wait 70 episodes and then it'll be like really, really sick. Like you'll love it after that. And I had a friend come up to me and he goes, that was like honestly like mind-boggling to hear. Like you have to wait 70 episodes and then you're gonna love it, kind of thing. Like that is not a thing that you experience on like normal TV shows and stuff like that. But it's like comic books, right? All this stuff has to be thought up out of nowhere. Like Star Wars, if you take away all the extended universe, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
this is why Stan Lee was so celebrated, because he was a guy who could think this
And
shit up.
George Lucas,
and think this shit
he
up out of
allows
nowhere.
to just like blast out this like kind of world. And so what there's this kind of, I guess, term, world building in anime and comics and
It's a skill.
you know, Star Wars books, movies, you know, things like that, where you're building the foundations of the world to give you a better like appreciation for where you are in the show. And that kind of stuff is boring and it sucks, but you got to do it, or else.
Hey, great segue too.
Hey, thanks.
Well, you know,
Thanks,
you
I'm
mentioned
pretty good at this.
You mentioned you do this for a living.
Yeah.
Of course.
no.
Yeah, we do this totally for a living.
You can
Absolutely
live off
not.
$5 a month.
Yeah, let us know. Oh yeah, by the way, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, please.
It literally puts food on the table.
Yeah, you mentioned Marvel, and we all know there's like a Marvel universe, and you were talking about how you come out with like the ratings or whatever of who's in first. Is there like an anime universe? Do like different animes cross paths at any point in time?
It's fascinating because
They do as like just genuinely a crossover episode, like a fan, like 25 years of Shonen Jump or something. They'll draw one panel with a bunch of people in there, or they'll draw one story with 3 meeting each other.
Didn't Dragon Ball Super did a crossover with that gag character girl?
Correct.
What's her name? Do you remember that?
I do. Give me a second. Just keep talking.
Her name starts with an A.
Area.
Okay, and there you go. So
Aria.
Aria or something like that.
Ethan's got the memory of an elephant.
He really does. So that's the thing. So I mean, it's
You said A, and I was just like, ah.
yeah. So I wouldn't say with their cross over stuff like that. Cameos can exist, but they would rather build a world bigger, like Sword Art Online, Fate Stay. They would rather build a bigger world within their own IPs, so the studios can just start pumping out like little stories here and there, and they can just like, here's a series, make some cash, here's a series, make more cash, blah 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 blah. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the merch, baby. It's all about the merch. If you look at the if you look at the merchandising in anime, so much fucking money, dude.
Melting.
It is so much cash what people will spend on figurines this big.
Oh, $1,000?
Yeah, $1,000. Imagine it
What a
life
deal.
size. Imagine it life size.
What a
Fucking take my
deal.
life savings, baby.
Capitalism. Love it.
Delicious. So yeah, what it is, the more shows you have and an IP you build yourself, the more merch that you and you alone can sell. There's no one else that can mix. There's a reason why Ethan's got a bunch of stuff up there, because it's all from Dragon Ball Z. They didn't have to go to anyone else to make that world. They made it. Toei Animation, or I guess Toriyama made it, and Toei Animation animated it. So they get those, and nobody else.
Hey, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
In line with the Marvel comment. So when I watch Marvel, I look at pretty much all the superheroes, and I look at them thinking pretty much everyone's ability or power is equivalent with the person next to him, minus Captain Marvel. That's kind of bullshit. She's like, everything.
She's OP.
But everybody kind of has
She's
like
OP.
inline powers.
Sure.
Do you think that's about the same with anime? Because I watched Naruto for a while, and there were some people in there I'm like, that's fucking unfair. Like, that dude had... I don't remember the guy's name. Chime in when you figure it out. Just from context.
Ethan both perked up like, we're
the
fucking
fucking
rich.
guy that can see 360 and can see all your fucking portholes of energy and poke them all out where you're fucking incapacitated. That's bullshit. Like, everybody else is just normal, and he's got fucking everything.
Would it surprise you to hear that, yes, early on in the show, that was very OP.
Yeah.
But later on the show, it is absolute dick.
Yeah.
He can't beat a single motherfucker.
So that show is
Well, why? They just...
So
what happened? What changed?
There's a difference.
What he's talking about is something we've talked about in the show a lot, and it's a power with shonen called power escalation. As you have powers introduced, like, say, the Avengers, you then have enemies to meet and then give them something to rise to, aka Thanos. So then everyone else has to then creep up in their power levels and rise to that. But when you have a form like you mentioned, it's not 1,000 episodes, it's just a couple movies, you can have this power escalation and it ends somewhere. However, when you have 500 like Naruto Shippuden alone, you then have to just, it scales to an infinite level that you don't know where the ceiling is because it just keeps going, So that's what you're seeing, is that someone comes to match him, Neji becomes trash.
Well, so Neji originally was one of the original villains, quote unquote, like antagonists.
He was just kind of
That's
a dick.
who I'm talking about? What's the name?
Neji.
The guy with the super white eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was originally an antagonist, quote unquote, because he was kind of a dickhead.
He's pretty dickhead.
You know what I mean? So they needed him to look like he was just unbelievably strong, like OP, and like basically a joke. You're like, oh, that's such a BS ability. And then guess what? Naruto beats him.
He existed to be a benchmark, to be overcome.
So what's Naruto? How does he overcome him? What's Naruto's ability that just like
well,
he doesn't ever give up, okay? And he's
first
gutsy.
Of all, his ninja ways,
he never gives up. Don't you know?
Friendship too.
You know, power also.
Oh, blow me! What is it really?
He's got a demon fox in his gut, and it's literally one of the most powerful beings.
What the fuck did he eat?
A demon fox.
His parents love.
That's that sit go sushi. You get a fucking demon fox
do not
in you.
eat gas station sushi, folks.
Mom, I ate gas station sushi and now I'm covered in demon fox. Oh,
now I'm the fucking king of the forest.
You're the chosen one. Yeah, I'm gonna sit here on the shitter for the next 3 hours. The chosen one.
Golly.
So yes.
Well, there's a lot to spoil there.
That's fine.
Yeah, he has very large chakra reserves, which automatically based on his lineage.
So to put it in Daniel's perspective, you know those little portholes that he saw?
He's got a lot.
He got a lot of portholes.
And he can't poke them all. Because I remember watching a fucking Linkin Park dub video where he's just poking the shit out of this dude. It just looked like...
Oh, what a beautiful time.
It looked like a Darkness to Light video about how you shouldn't sexually harass people, and he's just like poking the shit out of them.
What's going on?
Dude, what a time to be alive in YouTube in the Linkin Park AMV days.
Hey.
Beautiful stuff.
Fucking love me some Linkin Park.
So
Get
yes,
me going.
In short... Power escalation's a problem, and good shows rein it in. You know, everything feels earned, nothing feels cheap. If you ever tell yourself, well, that's fucking unfair, it's because it probably is.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be obsolete in 50 episodes.
I don't know. They did Lord of the Rings, and the elves are still broken. That's not fair.
Then no one ever rose to that
occasion.
occasion.
Nobody ever says anything.
No, fair enough.
I mean, the elves got absolutely their asses handed to them at Helm's Deep, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if you just look at the black and white as far as their abilities and what they're given, it's like, oh, you can't die unless you're actually killed in combat. That's bullshit.
Yeah, just go hide away in the hills somewhere and read books all day.
Yeah. And then you see that guy who's been married for like 1,000 years. Like, God, I wish I could go to war.
Just so I can end all this.
Lord Elrond, you can't go to war. Please?
For the love of God, please help.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the thing. More and more, your criticisms of anime are not necessarily... I guess that's my opening for me. I was coming in here, honest to God, thinking, like, Daniel was going to be like, all right, first off, why are the titties so big? Why are they so huge?
Hey, we ain't got to that yet, because I got some comments. I mean...
Hit with the comments! Hit it with the comments!
I mean, no, what's the Japanese porn? Like hentai? Is that what that was called?
That's that word. Yeah, you can say it.
You should.
Now I've just said fuck like 8 times tonight. Oh, now we're saying this is not.
Don't you fucking say the H word.
Yeah,
all right?
we're editing out all of those occurrences.
Before we get farther down the rabbit hole, what is with that? Are like Japanese guys just like super horny and like, well, if I'm gonna draw this shit, I'm gonna draw with big ass titties because who wants to see some freaking little A cups?
You know where
That's
I
lame.
genuinely you'd be surprised at the people who like the makeups, dude. It's a little weird. They got. I think it's the extremes.
If they look natural,
can we not talk about lollies right now?
What's that word? You know a word for that, Ethan? What are lollies? What are these lollies? I don't understand.
Hey, a wise redneck once told me if I can touch them, they're real.
See, that's where hentai kind of goes off the mark a little bit.
Right.
It's a little hard to
explain why there is a large amount of what we would call in the biz fan service in anime.
Ooh, that's a very PC way of putting it. I like
the
that.
name fan service should basically give it away.
Yeah, people watch it for the plot, and this.
We're not talking about hentai right now. We're talking about just regular shows.
Right, I know.
Okay, thank you.
I watch it for the plot.
Well, so you've been doing that, so I'm a little worried.
Fan service exists because one, it does sell. Like, there is no denying that it sells shit. I mean, if it didn't sell shit in the real world, they wouldn't have cast Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. Just saying. Like, she is literally fan service in real life because it's great. They wouldn't have cast Chris Evans as Captain America. So
I don't give a shit about him.
that's what I'm saying. But somebody does, and those somebodies is most ladies in America. Or the world, I guess. So, yeah.
Or the world.
Or the
Glad
world.
you mentioned that. So, leading into the anime that I don't know if
We're
y'all
not
have
done
watched.
yet, dude.
No. What the heck? This is
Ahead.
his interview to
Ugh.
us. The Stats Professors. Hit it.
We can get back, man. Hey,
Yeah.
we can cross paths. I don't care. We'll go all the way around.
We can cross streams. Ain't no big deal.
This
It's
is the
just
most
fine.
fucked up railroad track ever. Getting ready for the podcast today, I did rewatch an anime because I wanted to refresh my memory, and I remember it being pretty funny that I don't know if y'all have watched, but I mentioned it before. Have y'all seen Desert Punk yet?
Desert Punk.
No.
No, I mentioned this to you.
I
No.
don't even recall that.
Regale this to us.
Desert Punk, if anyone's listening, it is worth the time. It was only out very short period of time. I want to say there's like 24 episodes. It was only out from like 04 to 05. I don't know, like you said, it was like a money thing or just not much there. But I watched the first few episodes when it first came out, and it's fucking hilarious. Basically, post-apocalyptic style plot. It's like Japan after a nuclear holocaust, it's kind of crazy shit. And this guy called Desert Punk is really good at his job. He's a mercenary, and he's goes out, does all these jobs, make a lot of money. But he's fucking hilarious because he's about 4'0", high pitched voice, and it's just like joke after joke. It's freaking great fun. But if you watch it, I'm pretty sure all the episodes are on YouTube. You can watch them; they're free. You just English dub or whatever, and you watch that shit. Damn it! And the first episode, I think it's called I don't remember. Something in double D's. Yeah. And so it's basically a little episode where Desert Punk's walking around. First of all, he carries around a fucking World War I trench gun, but he snipes people from like 200 yards. And sometimes it shoots out like fucking grenades and shit. It makes no sense. And some guys got like AR-15s. It's crazy. But he's like
Sounds
rolling
about
around
right.
doing a fucking crazy job or whatever, and he stumbles upon this chick and huge personality. Big,
Really, really large.
Yeah.
Large
Yeah.
blue eyes.
Great girl. And he's just freaking, he's just like talking. All right, listen here, Tits McGee. If we're going to make this anything happen, I mean, you and your big old jugs are going to have to, get out of the way kind of thing. And it's hilarious. But,
Oh my god.
so I was just wondering, like, is all anime like this? We're just going to,
So,
it's kind of like
believe it or
right in
not-
your face with it.
Okay, well, it's definitely like that. Like, there's a lot of what we called fan service in most anime, I would say. But, believe it or not, there's a lot, like, almost every... Okay, I can't say that. A lot of anime, in at least the shonen genre, if there's a large, well-endowed female, somebody will make mention of it and like make a joke about it. Generally,
Yes, there's never
and
a
that's
time.
generally a flat-chested younger girl or something like that.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. Is that there seems to be a market for both extremes. There seems to be a market for the large, voluptuously curvy woman type of character, but also for the cute, kind of tiny, almost seemingly unsexualized character that is somehow done so in a way that's a little bit uncouth to a more Western audience. In an Eastern audience, in a Japanese audience, it seems to be something that's way more accepted. And I'm at least to the audiences of anime, it's still kind of a niche interest still over there. But nonetheless, that is something that's worth discussing. I don't know. I still to this day don't know what it is, what clicks for them with that.
Well, I don't know that sane people will figure that out.
I don't think. Yeah.
So here's what I'll say though. So there's a show and a specific example I'm gonna give you for this exact thing where there's the main character, whoever, that will like talk shit to the large breasted chick. Blue Exorcist.
Oh, you're right, dude.
Rin Okamura is the main character, and his teacher is this girl that wears like basically no clothes, but she's got this like big like
heart.
She's got this big like looks like a curse mark or something like that, like tattoo all the way down her like stomach, where she actually has like a magic seal on it where she can grab weapons and stuff out of it. So that's pretty sick.
It is.
But
she pulls weapons out of her cleavage.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's why it's all open. Is they're like, this is why. But he constantly is like, look, Boobzilla, leave me alone.
Boobzilla.
Are you sure it's not just because like they know that's what grabs attention that'll get viewers?
That's exactly.
I mean,
that's
it's clickbait. It's clickbait.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like YouTube. Like
service.
if I'm
That's
going to see somebody in a bikini fishing, I'm gonna watch that video, even if it's just them sitting watching a bobber for 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes,
Well,
they are.
I tried.
They are servicing what will gravitate fans, aka fan service. That's why it exists, to attract audiences.
Is anime still? I mean, is it still widely Japanese creators? I mean, is it mostly like American people now, or is it almost entirely Japanese producers?
And we are going to leave that on a cliffhanger because we're going into a part 2, which is going to be in a new episode. So next time on.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, we're because we're gonna split this up into two episodes. But when this second part comes out, we're gonna hit it hard. Is anime still produced primarily by Japan? Which is a fantastic segue into modern kind of what Japanese looks like today.
I'm glad I could help with that.
So yeah, I see you're already on this shit, dude.
I just want to get invited again.
Yeah.
So far, it's like a C+. So
C+?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna give you a soft B-.
How about like a
soft?
Soft B-.
I'll settle for a double D.
The kid's a natural. The kid's a natural
on the mic.
But hey, you know what? I'm gonna
like a regular Joe Rogan. Put me on.
There's nothing regular about the lab here and the show we got. So, hey, you know what, Daniel? Thank you so much for coming on. This, we will definitely have you on for a part 2 very, very soon. And it's great to have you guys back in the classroom. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Go check out our Instagram at weebology.podcasts.
Correct.
We got, memes on memes every day. They're starting to pop harder than ever before.
They're really funny. I don't even get them all, but they're still funny.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that actually.
I mean, I don't know where they come from, but the context is funny.
Ethan, where can they check out our episodes?
You can listen to our episodes on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, and many more.
And also, hello to the YouTube fan base. Thank you for watching, and hope you like our new aesthetic. And I hope it's not too bright, because we couldn't really turn them down.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
We're working on it.
Technical difficulties.
We'll work on it.
We gotta get rid of that yellow.
We'll work on it. But you know what? Anything else, Dan? You want to plug anything? You got anything to plug?
No, man, I'm freaking off the grid. I don't have anything.
the man's in the weeds, in the woods.
Give to your local charity. That's what I can say.
There you go.
Look at this man using his airtime to tell about giving to charity.
What an absolute G.
We're all about all about charity here in the classroom. So you know what? That's it.
5-star reviews. Let's not forget about those bad boys.
We need those
on iTunes. Please 5-star our podcast and leave a word review if you could.
If not for us, review Daniel. Review him as a guest.
Why not?
Yeah,
but also us.
Y'all are gonna tank.
But also us. We'd like to know how we're doing.
Yes, it's
brought on this guy that doesn't know shit. Get him out of here.
Give us the real content back.
Aww.
No, Daniel.
No, but still, yeah. I mean, like we've said for the longest time, 5 stars feed us.
They do feed us.
I know you saw us eating pizza earlier. How do you think we paid for it? That's right, 5 stars, folks.
It was very weird to give that man 5 legitimately golden stars. They're clearly worth thousands of dollars,
like,
but he was
potentially millions.
We told him to keep the change, and he just sprinted away. Of course, he's keeping that change. Are you kidding me?
We didn't even hear it. He was already in his car.
He's already in the car, screeching off.
I gave him Chuck E. Cheese tokens. He couldn't even tell.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening and watching.
Yeah, I got nothing else. So I'm Ricky.
And I'm Ethan.
And that's Daniel. And this has been Weebology. You've been learnt, turned, and burnt. Pieces.
Deuces.
Give him a pieces, Daniel.
Very bad.
Woo!